Alrighty, what is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another video, and in this video we're going to be breaking down the ultimate guide to Fortnite competitive settings. Now, if you don't play competitive Fortnite, don't worry, this guide will still give you the lowest input delay with the highest frame rate. So let's get right into it. First off, before we even start, make sure your rendering mode is on DX11, and that's because there are settings in here that you can't change when you're on performance mode, but if you do change them when you're on DX11, it actually does carry over to performance mode, which is really interesting, and it doesn't say that anywhere, so just a little heads up. Now, if we go back up here to display, full screen, whatever your native resolution is, frame rate, you want to have that on unlimited because it does give you the lowest input delay, and it also is very good in combination with the NVIDIA Reflex low latency right here, so have on plus boost and unlimited up here. Now for graphics, this right here, it doesn't really matter. It just however you can set this up, however it makes the game look the best. So if your eyes, I don't know, this is all personal preference. Graphics quality, 3D resolution 100%. If you're on a lower PC, then you can start turning this down to get some more frames, but that's up to you. View distance, you want this on medium because this gives you the best bang for your buck. And the reason being is that far/epic lets you see builds at 550 meters and loot at 405, and low lets you see builds at 270 meters and loot at 200 meters. So low is going to be better for performance, but it's going to definitely mess with you won't be able to see loot when you're flying in or where launch pads are and stuff like that. And fire/epic are just too high because you can only shoot people up to 280 meters. But I mean, if you're on a fucking god rig, then you might as well go fire and epic, or at least fire. Shadows, anti-alias, and anti-A. I can't say the second word. Textures, effects, post-processing, VSync, motion blur, off or low. Show FPS. It just pops up here in the top of your screen when you're playing. If it doesn't bother you, turn it on, but I don't like to have it up there, so I turn it off. Rendering mode, right now DX11, but at the end of this video, we're going to switch it to performance mode. Allow multi-threaded rendering, that's going to be on. If you have a single core CPU, then turn that off. Now these two are just for when you're like bug testing or troubleshooting, so turn those off. NVIDIA Reflex low latency on. And if you are somebody who's adamant on not playing on performance mode and you want to play on DX11, then turn DLSS to performance. Alrighty, let's go into game. Now matchmaking language, that just depends on where you are. Toggle sprint off, sprint by default on, sprint cancels reloading off, auto open doors on, hold to swap pickup off, toggle targeting off, mark danger when targeting. I like to have that on. It just means when you ADS and you click your marker, it'll just make the little danger alert pop up. Auto pick up weapons, I like to have this off because if you do have it on, sometimes when you're running over loot, especially in endgame, you might drop your shotgun for minis or some shit like that, and that's just horrible. Preferred item slots, I like to have this on, but I only set it up just for my shotgun because my shotgun slots are never going to change. But with, this season, next season, some seasons when there's going to be a fuck ton of utility in the game and you have your AR set in a specific slot, but then if you get a sniper, you're going to switch it up and some stuff like that. It's just easier just to have the shotgun in whatever slot you want. Auto sort consumables to the right. This works for me because I always put my consumables to... What the fuck am I saying? I always put my minis, my shit to the right, so it's good to have this one on for me. Reset build... Ooh, I got a burp there. Reset building choice off. Disable pre-edit option. If you are somebody who struggles with the core fundamentals of the game, have this on. But if you are somebody who is a competitive player, you should definitely have this off because this will soon become meta, and it is even still becoming meta right now in duos. Turbo building on. Nice little hint here that if you actually turn this off, you don't have the turbo building delay. So you don't have to wait like 0.15 or seconds to build, but you have to click everything, which is horrible. Confirm edit on release. Now this one is a big one. Most pros have it off, and I think that's mainly because that they're already goats when this was introduced, so it's like, why would you change a habit that's already working? But there is actually a pro to have it off, and that's because your crosshair placement will be fucking perfect. But honestly, I don't think it really matters unless you're at the top level. If you're somebody that is, top 1%, qualifying grands, but you find you're missing your shots after you do a peanut butter peak, then maybe switch this off and practice that. But if you struggle with rotating and you have this on, then that won't matter. So, and these ones don't matter. These are all just personal preference. But if you were going to go for lowest input delay and highest frames, NVIDIA highlights off, record replays off, creative mode replays off. Now we're going to the game UI. Now, if you have good eyesight and you're on an old man like me, you can set this down to 70, 60, 75, something like that. And if you are an old man, then you want to go 80 or above, or 100 if you're really blind. Now, I like to set mine on 80. Show spectator count. You don't need this, and it does cover up a little bit of your screen down here, so you can set that off, but it doesn't matter. All these ones on because these are all important here. I'm not going to read through it all because that'll take too long. Map and backpack keys, you don't need it, so you can set that off. Elimination feed, you do need, especially if you hear a fight going on ahead of you. Then you can be like, okay, someone was just knocked. Or even if you're in a set lobby and you realize, okay, the team behind us is fighting, let's go key them. One of them is knocked. Now these show your ping and your like latency and all that. It's just massive clutter up here. Turn that off. Quest progress. I'm a big quest fiend, so I have that on. Reticle ammo indicator, that shows like those 3 little white lines next to your crosshair. I still look down at my loadout to see my ammo, and if you do that too, then off. Control prompts, I still sometimes forget how to drive, so I need that on. And creative runtime performance stats off. Now I'm pretty sure that is it. I mean, if you're on mouse and keyboard, lock input method as mouse, that's important. And we're going to dive into the sound settings, and then we're going to wrap this up. So nice 6 minutes, not that long. You can set these to whatever you like, it doesn't matter. Ideally, whatever you can hear. Sound quality high. Yes, there is a little performance hit, but if you actually set it on low, what happens is that low quality cuts off. So if you're in endgame and it gets fucking crazy, it'll actually cut sound off, so you won't be able to hear it at all, because it's trying to make sure that your PC is set to like a certain performance level and it won't go harder, like try harder. So please set this to high. 3D headphones on. Background audio, up to you. Subtitles, up to you. Visualize sound effects. We see pro players having this on until like 4th zone or like end game, and then they're turning it off because it is a pretty big performance hit later on, and then that is it. So hopefully you guys have enjoyed this video, and before you guys leave, make sure you restart this and actually turn performance mode back on. And then once you do turn it back on, I'm not going to do it right now, but you'll see somewhere here, you'll see low versus high meshes, and that is again really personal preference. The only big difference is that high meshes lets you see through your walls easier, and low meshes you can't really see through your walls that easy unless they're building. If you just place the wall, you can see through it better than someone on high meshes, but once it's fully built, you can. Now there is a little bit of a placebo difference, and that is that low meshes actually feel like they build in place quicker, and that's because they don't actually go through the full animation of building, same as the high meshes, but it is the same speed. So I mean, I guess if you feel like you're fucking booga on low meshes, then leave it. It doesn't really matter. I play on low meshes. But make sure you switch back to performance mode after this video, and you will have the lowest input delay and the highest frames. So hopefully you guys have enjoyed this, and yeah, have a good one.